now that the Super Bowl 55 is in the books, what letter grade do you give Super Bowl 55, a matchup between Tampa Bay and Kansas City? So, after a thorough review, watching every second meticulously tick off the clock in Super Bowl 55, I'm going to be fair here. That's one thing we are in Sports Talk Radio is fair. I am giving Super Bowl 55 an F. It is a failure. This was a failure to launch. Failure to launch. So my thoughts on this, you've got aftertaste, greasing, and matches. And we will tie all of these things together. Now, for all of the anticipation of Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes, this is the equivalent, this Super Bowl, of when you were a little kid, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah, and you expected the brand new video game system, and instead you got a box of rocks is what you got. This was a dud, right? This game was dominated by the zebra. Now, the only time you want something in your life dominated by the zebra is a trip to the zoo, or if you're on some kind of safari somewhere. Boy, that would have been cool. Man, would that have been neat. But not in a football game. Not in a football game. And there, you shouldn't bring this up. Why not? It was the story. It was the story. And it's kind of like people say, you shouldn't talk about that. Well, no, you don't ignore it. You don't sweep it under the rug, right? It sucked the life out of this matchup. It was clear and undeniable bias in favor of the Buccaneers. Now, it doesn't mean the championship is going away from Tampa, but you've got to have that factored in. It's part of the story. And to ignore it, you'd be missing a large part of what we witnessed watching Super Bowl 55. That first half, setting the tone and building up the Buccaneers and for the entire rest of the game. The Super Bowl record for first downs by penalty before Super Bowl 55, it was 4. It happened 8 times prior. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers were awarded 6 first downs by penalty in the first half. Super Bowl record for help by officials. And we're talking about all-time Super Bowl record in the first half. Unbelievable. 6 times. 6 times. And that is the story here. They didn't even try to hide their clear bias. And that left a rotten aftertaste in the mouth. The Zebras broke the code. There has been a long-standing code that officials are supposed to be seen but not heard in the Super Bowl. The technique is called swallowing the whistle. That did not happen, at least half the time. It certainly seemed that the penalties that could have been called on Tampa were not, right? Were not. And so thus, rather than have it decided on the field, it was decided by the people wearing the funny zebra costumes, and it's ridiculous. So, now, I had no skin in the game. I'm not a Chiefs fan, I'm not a Bucs fan. You would have to be detached from reality, though, not to have seen that. Even Blind Scott and our friend Blind Emmett, the Seahawk fan, both those guys saw it. We have a lot of blind listeners. They all saw this. The injustice. It would be an injustice not to point it out. Part B, the game sullied. The game was sullied by biased officials. It was like the that Seahawks marketing slogan, the 12th man? Well, in this case, Tampa Bay had the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. You want to go on? You can do the numbers.
Another one.
Yeah, Kansas City was flagged for 8 penalties and 95 yards in the first half. Tampa had 1 penalty for 5 yards. Now, for perspective, that is the most penalty yards against any team in the first half of a game all season. But wait, there's more. Also, the most by the Chiefs in the first half of any game since Andy Reid, Big Red, took over in 2013. There's a term for this. It's called greasing the wheels is the term. There are no guarantees, right? There are no guarantees. Now, that said, these calls sure push the Bucs. It's like pushing a kid that's trying to learn how to ride a bike, and then you need that extra push right, to get them going, like a little wobbly. All right, we'll help you out. Boom, push them in the back a little bit, run alongside. Tampa Bay was the beneficiary of penalty yards on 3 of their 4 touchdown drives. They got assisted by key penalties, including one of the more embarrassing drives you'll ever see. They got 42 penalty yards on one of the touchdown drives. I think they had below 30 yards of offense and 42 yards of penalty yards. You toss in the Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger interception that was taken off the board by a late phantom holding call, and you have the cherry on top of the craptastic Sunday. All right, the last word here. Now, why am I giving Super Bowl 55 an F? I've summed up the referees, but all you need to know here, I am now going to play you the highlight, the one call that stands out from a matchup between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, and this is the call of the night from Westwood 1, Kevin Harlan.
Second down, 20, 5:03 to go. Someone has run on the field. Some guy with a bra. And now he's not being chased. He's running down the middle, the 40. Arms in the air in a victory salute. He's pulling down his pants. Put up your pants, my man. Pull up those pants. He's being chased to the 30. He breaks a tackle from a security guard. The 20, down the middle, the 10, the 5. He slides at the 1, and they converge on him at the goal line. Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man. And the players with hands on hips at the other end of the field are looking at him and shaking their head and saying, why, oh, why is this taking place in a Super Bowl?
All right, that was the great Kevin Harlan, and the guy must have been a Chiefs fan because he got stopped at the 1-yard line there. Now, Patrick Mahomes, he was bad. I am not saying he was good. He was not. And I'm not going to sugarcoat Mahomes. He sucked at a time you cannot suck. It was his worst career performance. That's not hyperbole. That's not me just barking into the microphone in the middle of the night. Patrick Mahomes is his first game in his career with no passing touchdowns and 2 or more interceptions and 2 or more sacks. And there are plenty of dunce caps to go around. We have a full night to carve the turkey that was Kansas City in addition to the referees. But for Kansas City not to get into the end zone and only have 3 field goals is a stunning juxtaposition from the juggernaut Chiefs offense that they had been. This offense had been a flamethrower, and they went from flamethrower to a wet box of matches against the Buccaneers with help from the referees. The Chiefs were pummeled and butchered in every way possible, but it didn't help that the officials were pushing the Buccaneers offense along in the first half, which the fact that the Buccaneers likely would have won this game anyway, it makes the officials meddling in this all the more maddening. Again, Tampa likely wins the game without the help. It's a closer game without the help, but they got a bunch of it. They got gobs and gobs and gobs of help